And we start, well, on the Daily Trust newspapers this morning. Let's see what we can quickly find here. It says right there on your screen, Naira inches towards 1,000 Naira to the dollar. It's currently about 925 to 930 Naira to the dollar. It is the most unbelievable exchange rate that Nigerians have ever or would have ever imagined. In 2014, I beg your pardon, of course, before the Buhari administration came into office, Naira was, exchanging then. It was somewhere around 214 or something. Last time it was 162, and there was, people were throwing their hands in the air, claiming that, the administration then had finished Nigeria and ruined Nigeria completely. We are currently at 925, 930 Naira, to the dollar. And I'm not sure if the economic policies of the current administration will continuously be accepted as radical change that needed to be made. But this is what we're currently dealing with. Best of luck to Nigerians. Everyone who, of course, had projected that this would only be for a couple of weeks or months and then it would stabilize and the value of the Naira would, of course, continue to increase, seems to be very quiet right now. I'm not sure if they're taking back their words, they're eating their words, or we should still give it time. I think that's a question Nigerians will be asking.
How much more time?
Exactly. How much more time do we give the Naira before it starts to stabilize and eventually come down? And another thing is the whole idea of taking away the dual exchange rates and making a single exchange rate. Was that factual, or did we actually just devalue our currency?
Well, some of the experts will tell you that.
Yes.
Floating the Naira was a great idea. You allow it to float, and after a while, allow the market forces to determine.
Yeah, but the market forces are determining it, to a
negatively.
930 Naira.
It's unfortunate, because it's not just because we still have scarcity in some sense. Some people would say that a huge amount of FX should have been pumped into the economy first before all of these policies were made. So people are still, and because we are a country heavily reliant on FX.
Yeah.
So I don't think that this comes as a surprise. It's just a sad, shocking one. To be honest, a number of people had expected the dollar to get to 1,000 Naira much earlier.
Much earlier, and there's still a possibility that it will get to 1,000 and even beyond by Christmas. We are currently in the month of August. So it's not looking good for the Nigerian currency at this stage. We'll get in someone to speak about this. Sanusi meets Niger military leaders and of course briefs Tinubu. We can also find here on the Daily Trust, Sultan-led NSCIA opposes force and economic sanctions. We can also get here, Ulamas get Tinubu's nod for mediation. Learn from Libya crisis, bishops tell ECOWAS. What else can we find on the Daily Trust this morning? Akpabio under fire over comment on Senator's holiday enjoyment allowance. FIRS set to take over 63 agencies' tax collection mandate. And that's from Presidential Committee. And final story here, 2 arrested for raping an infecting girl with hepatitis in Jigawa. And of course, the biggest story, I believe, in Nigeria today has to be the Naira exchange rate and the Senate president, who's still getting the hang of things and making these little gaffes here and there, with sharing prayers to the rest of the National Assembly. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we have more newspapers for you this morning. And of course, right after the papers, we'll get to our top stories. Stay with us this morning. Breakfast Central.
Right, welcome back to Breakfast Central. Let's still look through the front pages of the newspapers this morning. And the paper we're looking at is the Guardian newspaper in Nigeria. On the front page of the Guardian, the big story says, long road to peace as ECOWAS coup leaders maintain positions. No one seems to be backing down. It really does look like a long road to peace. Why extension of UTME result validity impracticable by Oloyede? Do you think that the JAMB, University Matriculation Exams, should be extended, the validity of it? So maybe the argument, I don't know what the argument is, but the argument might be that you should be able to use it for more than 1 year. If you write it this year, should it be a yearly thing? Should the time of validity be extended? I'd like to read this article, but I'm just wondering what it would be like if one could write the JAMB exams and then they'll be eligible to use it for 2 years. So if they're not able to get into school
2 years
this
is
year,
fair enough. Yes.
then they're able to get into school the next year.
I think 2 years is a fair enough time. Anything more than 2 years, might be a little tricky. But for me, I think 2 years. 2 years works.
All right. Time to end bloodletting in the Southeast. Oyedele seeks comprehensive review of tax laws. Dollar breaks $900 naira to the dollar ceiling, heads to $950 to the dollar ceiling at alternative markets. Customs enforces presidential directive on Nigeria-Niger border closure. NNPP chairman Taku Kwankwaso say party, not another Kwankwasia group. Reps orders AGF to produce IPPIS officer, queries AMCON and budget office. And that's all that we could take this morning on The Guardian newspaper. If you'd like to interact with us on any of the stories, head over to our social media at News Central TV to share what your thoughts are on any of these stories.
I think I can also just quickly mention that it might be a great place to throw in that apparently it wasn't Aboki FX that was the cause of Nigeria's exchange rate problems.
When they tried to shut down Aboki FX, or when they did shut down
the naira.